I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting today. We'll start with an acknowledgement of country. Snowy Valleys Council proudly acknowledges the traditional owners and custodians of this land and water and pay respects to their elders past and present. This meeting is being live streamed on the Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions. Members of the public participating in the meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including names and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Snowy Valleys Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in a closed session will not be streamed. Councillors are reminded of the oath or affirmation of office they made under Section 233A of the Local Government Act 1993 and the obligations under Council's Code of Conduct to disclose and appropriate manage conflicts of interest. Please ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or on silent mode for the duration of the meeting, and no recording of voice or images is permitted by mobile phone or other electronic devices while in the room. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate the building using the nearest exit and follow the instructions by the warden. Do not use the lift. Councillors, we're going to go straight to item 10.1. Which is,
Mayor, I'll move that be brought forward.
Thank you, Councillor and Councillor Thompson, Councillor Packard. Beg your pardon. Move that. It's item 10.1. It's a rescinding, amending code of meeting practice post disallowance for adoption. So there's three recommendations there. To note the report of
Madam, we just need to actually resolve that.
I beg your pardon, of course. All in favour of moving that 10.1 forward? Yes, Councillor Inglis, yes?
No, I'm opposed.
To move the report forward? It's just...
Oh, to move it forward. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Councillor Hayes, are you okay? Yeah, unanimous. Thank you. Okay, now back to the actual report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Packard.
18.
Councillor Thompson, there's three recommendations there.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think this is fairly self-explanatory. The council had been advised that the previous adopted code of meeting practice is no longer acceptable, and we have received the advice that this is the correct procedure to go forward, and in order for us to be able to hold the meeting today, we need to adopt it so that we can then just proceed with our meeting.
Sure. Any other debate?
So just to clarify,
Councillor Inglis would like to speak.
Just to clarify, what you're saying is that we cannot have this meeting unless we do this.
Correct. And this is under advice from the Office of Local Government. You can go home.
But it would be a breach of the Local Government Act.
Go home.
Councillor Inglis?
Well, I understand that the Minister proposes to proceed with the proposal by way of subsequent regulation. I know of no rule, and I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, that a workshop has to precede a meeting. It's a matter for discretion, and I'm not in favour of pre-meeting workshops for the reason that I think it impedes transparency, and that the public's entitled to know exactly what councillors think, how they perform, and whether or not they're acting in their best interests. I don't believe that the fact that we've not been having pre-meeting briefing sessions has made the meeting much longer at all. My concern is that we're going to lose transparency that the public's entitled to, and it's inevitable that the regulation is going to go through anyway.
Apparently. So thank you, Councillor Inglis. Councillor Packard.
Just speaking for the motion, I mean, I don't think this motion foreshadows in any way that we're going to have workshops, or that, nor does it foreshadow that the the code of meeting practice won't change again. It's just, this is just a operator, what do they call them?
Procedural.
Procedural,
Interim arrangement.
interim arrangement. It's not even a workaround. It's a legal step just to enable us to carry out business until the changes, the foreshadowed changes by the minister, potentially get through the upper house.
Councillor Thompson, happy to close debate. Everyone else? Yep.
I think it's really important to understand that at this point there is no code of meeting practice because the other one has been dissolved, so to speak. What we're doing here today is that we are passing a code of meeting practice so that we are actually able to conduct this meeting and go through. The June meeting is a critical meeting. We have fees and charges, we have the rates. There are so many things that we need to have in place prior to the 1st of July. And this is through no doing of Snowy Valleys Council. This was something that I understand it was found that there were some irregularities in the previous code of meeting practice that was actually implemented or put in there by the minister. And so we now have to adopt this so that we can have today's meeting.
Thank you, Councillor. Debate's been closed, Councillor. All those in favour? Okay, so we have Thompson, Packard, Hayes, Hardwick, Works, Ham, and against Latta and Inglis.
For reasons that I've indicated.
Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Okay, now to 5.1, confirmation of minutes. Do I have a mover? Oh, I beg your pardon.
Apologies.
Apologies.
Sorry, back up here.
And let's start at the beginning now. Beg your pardon. Apologies and leave of absence. Now, we do have a leave of absence from Councillor David Sheldon, and that was granted on the 19th of March for this meeting. So now we can go to pecuniary interest, and we have two, Councillor Trina Thompson and Councillor Hugh Packard, both for 2.8, both declaring a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in relation to report 10.8, being on the committee, not exec, of the Montreal Theatre. And they will remain in the meeting during discussion and will participate in the voting. Okay. Do I have to be? No. Okay, now we can go to the confirmation of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Madam Mayor, I'll actually move that we resume the order of.
Oh, you have to do that too. Okay.
We've changed the order.
Could we? Thank you, Councillor Thompson, to resume the order of the meeting. We've got Councillor Thompson's moved that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hardwick. No discussion. All those in favour? Thank you. Let's get into 5.1, confirmation of minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 21st of May. Do I have someone move? Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Wirtz. Thank you. All those in favour? Go with that. Thank you. I have no mayoral minutes. Happy to know, but I do have a couple of things to say. Please, it's first of all, congratulations, very big congratulations to Mary Hoodless, who became a member of the Medal of Australia from Jingellic. I think that's what it is. She got an AM, and yeah, the member of the Order of Australia. And then Shane Walsh from Adelong got the Medal of the Order of Australia, OAM. So to have someone from Jingellic and Adelong, both people who make a huge difference in their communities, I think it's outstanding. I think all councillors would agree. That's really fantastic to get two up from our council area, and congratulations to both. And another congratulations to our own councillor, Councillor Michael Inglis, who's celebrating 50 years of service at the bar, and he was recognised for his contribution made to the profession and to public life. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
And Councillor James Hayes has just returned from a self-funded tour of led by Sculptures by the Sea, and as was said at the last meeting, Councillor Hayes is now on the board of Sculpture by the Sea, and just had a nice trip around Europe and following up on people who sculptures are here in the Snowy Valleys. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Would you like me to speak to it or?
briefly?
Okay, so I was given the opportunity to attend a study tour of Vienna and Prague, to look at sculpture, but also to learn and promote the Snowy Valleys, which I usually do. So it gave me a real opportunity to meet some of the artists that are represented in the Snowy Valley Sculpture Trial in their own studios, and to see them, and also look at potential artists who are making works overseas that could ultimately end up here or could ultimately end up anywhere in the world. So it was a very, very good opportunity to do that. I was also able to meet the former Consul General for the Czech Republic, who made Australia, lived in Australia for 4 years, but also came to the Snowy Valleys quite regularly to unveil.
What was her name again?
Susanna.
Susanna.
Yes. And I'll send councillors around an email from her as well. But it was a great opportunity, good opportunity for me to go over there. My bag was a lot heavier going over than coming back, which is unusual, because I took a lot of the regional lifestyle magazines over there and was able to distribute them. So yeah, it was very worthwhile, and hopefully something good will come of it for the Snowy Valleys.
What an opportunity. Congratulations. I do want to make note of, it's a bit off topic, but RB Cellairs is using Can Coburn as their marketing place and tool. Did you know that was happening, Councillor Huckley? But it's quite good just seeing Can Coburn. So I think I might write them a letter of thanks for that, because they're doing well done on their advertising. And I have been asked by the Can Coburn community to acknowledge the passing of Angelo Latazino, who came to Can Coburn in 1960, and he was involved in the development of Murray 1 and 2, as well as the town of Can Coburn itself, often saying his blood is in the concrete. A private man, but always involved in the community. He was part of the soccer club, darts, and later was a greenkeeper at the country club. His garden was well known, fruit and vegetables all years round, shared with his beloved town. Always there to lend a hand. His legacy is the foundation of the Can Coburn spirit. He will be missed, and his service will be in Can Coburn tomorrow. Thank you, councillors. Moving on, no correspondence, no mayoral minute, urgent. Okay, so 10.2, council resolutions, action report. One recommendation there. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Inglis. Councillor Thompson.
No, I think it's all fairly self-explanatory, Madam Mayor. I do note that on page 23, item 8.3 is that we're continuing to lobby for the road safety. It's an issue that was raised at the traffic forum that was held up in Tumbarumba last month, and it's something that we need to be fairly mindful of. We have extensive road users in our area that are not familiar with our roads, let alone driving on rural roads. And I think the more that we can push for the road safety, the better off we'll be.
And thank you for attending that and pushing that. I know you're pushing that wherever you can. Very much appreciated. And just so you know, it was pushed at the Roads Congress as well by Carly Porteous. Beautiful. Softwoods Working Group. Councillor Inglis.
I wish to raise 11.7, Madam Mayor.
Certainly.
It's about time this matter was brought to a head. The applicant expression of interest was well over 12 months ago.
Sure.
It was defective in that the financial information required was not attached. He's been given the opportunity to remedy that error or deficiency, and also to provide the options. None have been forthcoming.
We might get the acting director of infrastructure to speak to that.
Yes. Well, I haven't quite finished, but
Sorry, is it a question?
well, my question is going to be, when does it lapse? And is it time for us to look at alternatives for the use of that piece of land? There may be a lot of other prospects or for its use. Even a botanical garden or something, I don't know, but the matter needs to be brought to a head.
Sure.
Through
So
you,
why shouldn't it lapse is the question.
through you, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure whether it lapses. The resolution that I'm reading in front of me that council made about the matter isn't linked to any sort of timeframes. I've subsequently picked up and communicated with the applicant, and they've assured me that draft options agreement is under preparation and they're likely to have it back to council within 28 days.
What about the financial material?
I don't, yeah,
There's supposed to be an accountant's report attached to the expression of interest, and that has not occurred.
yeah, okay. That's not part of the council resolution that I'm reading. You have to bear with me. I'm a bit unfamiliar with the proposal.
I understand
Yep.
totally that you've only just walked into this.
Yep.
But I just wanted to brought to a head and resolve one way or another, and let's do something with the land.
Yep, noted.
Thank you.
Anything else from the resolution report? No? Okay. Councillor Thompson,
It's all been said. Thank you, Madam.
all those in favour? Unanimous. Okay, 10.3, de-amalgamation project report, and I know, thank you for coming along. Our Chief Transition Officer, Nicole Jenkins. So we've got a report there to note. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Packard, seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Packard.
Just like interested to hear any commentary that Nicole has
That'd be
on the report. Because things are changing.
Thank you, Council, for the opportunity and through the Mayor. Hopefully to your relief, a much shorter report this month from last month, but I wanted to ensure that we had transparency of the progress that is being made since the last council meeting, and in particular for the community that might be watching. So we'll just talk through at a really high level, particularly for those that might have dialed in online, but I'll take the report and papers as read. In regards to the important incorporation of the project into our IP&R document suite, for transparency, a new principal activity has been added into the delivery program that's before you tonight, which reads that council will lead and deliver the de-amalgamation transition to achieve strong, sustainable outcomes, strengthen community identity, and support local decision-making. That principal activity is important because it enables us to identify actions in our operational plan that must be linked to a principal activity. They are also included. With regards to the very important long-term financial plan that will be adopted tonight, that plan has been prepared showing financial forecast for an ongoing Snowy Valleys Council as an amalgamated entity. With the commitment to pursue de-amalgamation and now the known timeline, it will be appropriate that a revised long-term financial plan will need to be developed that will identify scenarios for a de-amalgamated council with an opportunity for council to elect their preferred scenario to go back out for community consultation. This commentary is repeated in the report that pertains to those documents and within the documents themselves to hopefully make sure the community is satisfied of that level of transparency. An important resolution was the support to engage a suitably qualified consultant to assist us to update the financial sustainability plan to support our grant application. Principal consultant of Always Thinking Advisory, Peter Teggett, was engaged. That engagement has provided some efficiencies because you might be aware Peter was engaged previously with the original financial sustainability plan that enabled us to have that work delivered within our tight timeframe, and certainly a more efficient engagement should have we engaged someone else that may have been starting from scratch. The grant application, there's been no tangible progress because we do require the financial sustainability plan to underpin that. However, OLG have made it clear they would like us to demonstrate that any cost of de-amalgamation have been significantly considered and that we have looked at every opportunity to deliver the project in a cost-efficient way. So what we have been doing is continuing to explore how we can reduce costs, including our major vendor conversations. So not as much tangible progress, but to note that. Our first community consultation regarding the de-amalgamation, which related to the potential retention of the Snowy's Valley brand, has been held. That engagement closed last night. We received 364 responses. Of those, 281 voted in support of retaining the Snowy Valleys Council brand. A detailed report will be brought back to council for their consideration. With regards to the second EOI that we had, or engagement we had going out, which was our EOI for the de-amalgamation steering committee, that is still an open EOI. It closes at 5 p.m. today. I'm really pleased to report we've had a high level of engagement and interest from the community. As at 2:30 today, we had received 4 EOIs from the northern end and 5 EOIs from the southern end. That EOI closes at 5 o'clock today, and then a report will be prepared accordingly. With that steering committee process, EOI now closed, that has given us some reprieve for the community to now open up our second EOI, which would be recruiting for our community panel. And to refresh the council's memory, that we'd be looking for 10 community representatives from the north and 10 community representatives from the south. We expect that process to open early next week. And I would like to acknowledge our local press who have been really helpful with running lots of articles and that have helped generate a large volume of interest. And something that is not mentioned in the council report, but I think might be of interest to councillors, is over the last 2 days, we've been able to hold our staff forums, an opportunity to meet with staff, to talk through the project and the timeline, as I did with the workshop with yourselves, and importantly, to talk about more specifically, what is that process going to look like for staff engagement and impact on staff. I'd like to thank the executive and all staff for the incredible level of engagement. In particular, I do want to acknowledge the union organiser, the United Services Union organiser, Jason Mitchell, who has been on hand to support staff over the last 2 days. Thank you, councillor.
Thank you. Any questions for Nicole? A question that's been asked to me is, are you looking at other smaller councils and how they function compared to what, because we can't just have a smaller Snowy Valleys.
Correct. Thank you for the question, Madam Mayor. So certainly in terms of benchmarking, operating models, systems, staffing, we absolutely have already started talking to smaller councils. My most recent conversation with a small council was Cobar. That was a conversation that I sought out specifically to understand their enterprise system. So when I say enterprise system, I'm talking a major finance system from a portal. We know from our own internal benchmarking, just yesterday I was speaking to a colleague who happened to have been at a conference and had information of which systems people were using. And of the 5, we're speaking to the 4, and of the 5th is because it's a discontinued system. So absolutely, we're talking to councils directly. We're also talking to all of the vendors that we can, and consultants that are also making referrals. And we'll continue to do that. If any councillor had a particular local government area they wanted me to reach out to in particular, happy to do so.
And the 2 committees, simplistically, what are the different roles?
So thank you, Madam Mayor, for the question. So the steering committee, as we discussed last council meeting, is largely a governance committee, and its primary role is to oversee that the project is progressing in accordance with the plan. Are we keeping on track? Are we implementing the actions as were described in the plan? If we're deviating, is there rationale for that? And in instances where decisions need to be made, that we bring those to the steering committee for their decision if it's within their delegation. But largely an overseeing the implementation plan. The recommendation to the governor will only come from the minister, and the proclamation will come obviously from the governor itself. So the council's role is very important, as the minister has made clear, to oversee the preparations and to ensure that we're prepared to have two financially sustainable councils that can service the communities.
Thank you.
With
So the
regards to the community panel, very much more a deeper engagement focus. So from my previous experiences, and certainly you would have similar experiences, when we do broad communication, or broad engagement, often people have a really limited bandwidth on what information they're able to absorb, whether they're reading it online, whether they're interacting with us at a booth at a fair, for instance, and they'll make a decision based on review on often very relatively light information. The purpose of establishing a community panel is to enable a smaller group to undertake much deeper education and deeper level of engagement on critical matters. So for instance, if we're in a different point of the project and we were considering the retention of the Snowy Valleys brand, we might have run a workshop with the community panel. And we might have had people that actually have a branding expertise and answer their very detailed questions about why is a brand so important, and have different opportunities to assess what a brand means, pros and cons, etc. Workshopping activities to help that panel make a decision. So the engagement focus largely for the panel and a stronger governance focus for the steering committee.
I'll ask a question.
Sure.
So can members of the community be on both, or are they separate committees where you're either on a steering committee or you're on a community panel, or is there the opportunity for overlap?
Thank you, Councillor, through the Mayor. The committee for the steering committee was through an EOI, and anyone was eligible to apply. When we open up the EOI for the community panel, equally anybody would be eligible to apply. Ultimately, it'll be council's decision who will be selected for the steering committee and the community panel. But arguably, you could select the same person for two,
Right.
if it was the will of the council, if they applied.
And had the expertise.
There's a question how those two, committee and the community panel, will interact and how they will the council.
Certainly, Councillor, thank you for the question through the Mayor. So the steering committee includes the elected representatives or councillors per the terms of reference. So in terms of how those community members on the steering committee will interact, we'll be together as one steering committee. You will have that delegation as per the terms of reference, and only items or reports that fall outside that delegation would come back to a general council meeting. Interaction between the two groups, there wouldn't be direct interaction of the two groups. However, can I just use the brand example? It's probably the most relevant one. If we, at a different point in time, we had a steering committee set up and we had a community panel set up, we would have done exactly what we've done. We would have put out our surveys and we would have had posters and we would have encouraged people to think about the brand. We would have also had that community panel invited to a workshop, have a different frame of reference and get their perspective. That data would be considered, and in my report that I would prepare for the steering committee, we would say, these are the responses we had from this cohort, the broader cohort. These are the insights that we gleaned, particularly from the community panel, and did they differ? and include all that information and perspective for the steering committee to make a decision. And that might be supporting a recommendation that I've given or other. So the engagement process, remember, community panel is engagement. That information, whatever we're doing there, and views that we're trying to extract would be prepared in a report to go to the steering committee. So everything we're going to be engaging with is looking for an answer for a recommendation to the steering committee.
So the steering committee will be chaired by the mayor and will be bound by our code of meeting practice and code of conduct.
Thank you, Councillor, for the question through the mayor.
It's more of a statement really, but
Per the terms of reference, compliance with the code, correct? In the terms of reference, the chair will be voted on by the committee in the first meeting. What we did agree in the last council resolution is that the mayor will be the single spokesperson for the committee. So the chair will be voted on.
and the forum. That's
Apologies.
The panel,
Panel.
community
The
panel, community panel.
In terms of the,
same question. Yeah.
Who's chairing?
Well, that would be you, wouldn't it?
yeah, so the community panel is more like a workshop style. So there isn't a chair as such. It'd be myself largely coordinating what we're bringing the panel to consider, and whether it be myself presenting, another member of staff, or a subject expert would depend on the topic.
Okay. And once more, they'll be bound by code of meeting and code of conduct.
They're not bound by the code of meeting practice, but certainly our code of conduct in regards to communication and respectful communication. And usually that's the ground rules that are set when that committee is.
I think you need that governance very, very.
The terms of reference,
Yeah.
very tight.
Just to
Councillor
thought,
Works.
yeah, just thinking about the two, the panel and also the steering committee, given the potential of, you say, the government's issue, the possible confusion that might arise, and it'd probably be pertinent to have like steering committee members in the community panel, just so they can explain whatever decisions are coming out of that steering committee, so that the panel isn't left in, obviously the reports will be there, but having those steering committee members on the panel as well would be very important, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor. Through the mayor, it would be highly unusual to have representative of a governance committee in a key engagement forum. Highly unusual, but certainly it could be the will of the council. So we would need people to apply for the community panel, and we would need the council to select those representatives, remembering that the community panel is an engagement forum. It's an opportunity to bring people together that are interested to be more involved in the process, and to take a deeper dive into the project and to give that deeper feedback. That said, it could be the will of the council if people wanted to. Also, we could negotiate things like the committee members. Remember, the steering committee is yourselves as well. You might like to observe the community panels and to be on hand to jump in and answer questions if that was your preference. So the steering committee is all of council and the 6 community representatives.
Madam Mayor,
Councillor
through you. So I'm just getting it in my head. The difference is that the actual steering committee is a section 355 of committees. So it is bound by the guidelines, the rules, the code of meeting practice, the code of conduct. So it's all of that, and it actually can make decisions that are binding, and the ones that they can't make then come back to council for a resolution, as opposed to the community panel, which is almost your ideas and the feedback and the opportunity for the community to engage at a level that instead of just clicking a survey, that can actually be part of a
Engagement forum.
strategic, a formal process of sharing ideas, So that's, yeah, I can understand where as observers, but we also need to have the community feeling that they have that opportunity to share their ideas without being told no.
I'm just wondering how you're going to engage with the community if the steering committee isn't part of that panel. Because if you're not directly engaging with them and it's separated.
So through Madam Mayor, so the way that we communicate with the community, engage with the community now versus bringing the report here to council. So the similar process, if you think about it in that regard. So every week we're doing some level of engagement. Council is responsible to engage with the community through our community engagement strategy and guidelines around that. We need to bring evidence of that consultation, how we're forming our recommendations, how we've considered feedback, and we bring that to council's consideration. So in that parallel regard, it would be similar. Certainly, I think the committee would be in an excellent position to be encouraging community participation in those engagement activities. Now, the community panel is just a small group representing the broader community. Every community member has a right and will have access to engagement. So it won't be as though suddenly we're only going to be speaking to a smaller number of people. We will need to be doing wide engagement and lots of various engagement activities. For example, when we prepare our revised long-term financial plan with those dual scenarios, people will need to have the opportunity to have it explained to them. They need to have the opportunity to provide feedback and ask questions. And in particular, that would be a great opportunity for a very deep workshop. I'm sure a lot of community members don't understand what a long-term financial plan is. So that would be a really good example there. But absolutely, they would be in a great position to really encourage that broader participation. But either way, if a community member wants to apply for both and they were selected by both from the council, absolutely, that could be accommodated, of course.
Thank you. Councillor Packard.
So I moved the motion. We haven't voted on it yet.
No.
So can I add a dot point 2, given that it closes today, the steering committee applications, rather than leave it for a month for us to consider them as council, that we have an extraordinary meeting of council, probably 2 weeks time. I think that brings it in line with the Thursday workshop day we were going to have.
To the General Manager?
Potentially. Is that possible?
Yeah, so if council sort of resolves that today, we can
Is
add that
2 weeks enough time to write up and bring it all together?
And that'll be a confidential discussion with council?
Correct. Councillors, yes, that is enough time to prepare the report. At this time, we've received 9 EOIs, and I don't anticipate 2 anymore. So that would certainly be suitable. It would be a confidential report, only once the members have been determined and they've accepted would we release that information publicly.
Just I would also note in support of that addition that because of the changed code of meeting practice, if people are not able to attend the meeting in person, that one would be able to be attended, and it would probably not be a terribly long meeting that could be attended remotely and still be in compliance with the new meeting code of meeting practice. So can I add that to the
Yeah, so holds an extraordinary meeting on the 2nd July 2026 to determine a de-amalgamation steering committee membership.
July 26th.
So 2026, 2nd of July 2026. Okay.
what's the second?
Any other comments or vague questions?
But you should also confirm that councillors are allowed to attend online.
Yeah. Oh, Councillor Packard said that.
Oh.
Yeah. Councillor Packard, you're happy to close debate?
Yep.
Thank you for your report. Councillors, all those in favour of those 2 recommendations? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, 10.4 draft productivity and cost saving plan post exhibition. So it's been out 48 days. Any feedback that you haven't put in writing yourselves? Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Thompson?
No, Madam Mayor, it's fairly self-explanatory, and the one submission, the person who submitted it is to be advised of the outcomes of their submission. It was fairly thorough. Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Lighter.
Did we receive the submission? I just can't see it in my attachments.
It was certainly written into the report.
Yeah, so the issues were summarised in the report, but I can send it to you.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just going to
thank
say in
you.
future, I mean, it's by all means incorporated in, but I still think we should
Get the actual
get the
report
actual.
redacted where it needs to be.
Mm.
Thanks, Councillor Lighter. No other comments? Happy to close debate. All those in favour? Unanimous? So that leads us to 10.5, attendance at the Local Government New South Wales Destination and Visitor Economy Conference on the 27th, 29th of May. And this report was put in by Councillor Sheldon.
Councillor Sheldon's absent.
Second to talk. Second to
With
talk.
visuals? Do you want to speak to it, Councillor?
That's a very fine report.
Very fine report.
Congratulations to Councillor Sheldon.
All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 10.6, attendance at the Local Government New South Wales Rural and Regional Summit in Sydney. And there's reporting there from Councillor Ham and Councillor Thompson. Do I have someone move that? Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Thompson.
Madam Mayor, you may also like to speak on this, and thank you for the extra work we did in preparing the report. What a bit of an eye-opener, really. And it is always so good to actually go, and this was a much smaller conference than a lot that you attend, so it's you get so much more from it. It was also an action-packed day, and then followed by the Country Mayors Association the next day, where the Minister was very, shall I put it nicely, animated almost in how he spoke about some of the questions that were asked of him. But it was an excellent conference, and thank you very much.
So, and it did reinforce financial sustainability issues across all the councils. The impact, particularly in our rural regional towns, of the state's significant projects, and how that's just more and more impact, and how we're not in a res, we're in an accessible area apparently, and at this stage there's not many guidelines supporting us. So it was good that it wasn't just our voice. There was a lot of talk about special rate variations and the process and how long it takes to get through those special rate variations, and how much staff time that's costing to do that. And then I had the privilege to speak with Councillor Leah Parker, the Mayor of Greater Hume, on drought and the lasting impacts across regional communities, and how our thing is it's not classified as a natural disaster. And because it's not classified as a natural disaster, there's, when a drought comes, the funding to support producers is very, very poor. But it's not only producers, it's local governments. Suddenly you've got your roads being hammered by feed trucks and things like that. So we'll continue. That's a federal issue. We'll continue pushing that. But no, it was good, and it was great example of collaboration between all councils, really.
Just in closing, Madam Mayor, I would like to acknowledge that, having been given the opportunity on the next day to attend the Country Mayors Association, where you did do the presentation with the comments made after that were incredibly positive. The way in which the presentation was actually put together, the videos, the footage, the way in which the two of you worked together went over very well, and there was a lot of positive feedback from many within the room, not just other mayors or councillors, but also general managers and the politicians who were there. So congratulations on your presentation, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, now the next one is 10.7, well, it's a late report, 10.6.5 or something. Late report, integrated planning and reporting documents, including the budget for adoption. So these have been out for 28 days. Anyway, there was feedback in there. Do I have a mover?
So, Madam,
We have to find it first.
can I just clarify,
Just have to find it.
is it 10.7?
No, 10.7.
It's a separate document.
It's a separate document, but what,
L1.
so L1, and it's
Yeah.
going in before the rates and charges?
Yeah.
Okay. Madam Mayor, I'll move that way.
Thank you, councillor Thompson. Give everyone a bit of time to find it.
Yeah.
When councillor Packard, councillor Thompson, you'd like to start?
Madam Mayor, thank you very much. This is a fairly massive document in relation to the fees and charges and the other documents that relate to IPNR. And it's one of the reasons that I think has made it incredibly difficult with the removal of the opportunity for councils to actually hold, whether they are called workshops or briefings, for each of us to read what's in here individually and then have to go through staff and try and follow through line by line, instead of being able to sit around a table and discuss some of the issues that impact on us, like the changes to our cemeteries, to whether it's about our swimming pools, whether it's about the access charges for all of the other things that we're doing. It's incredibly difficult to be able to get all of that and discuss it. The questions in relation to even the sporting fields charges and the lights, of making sure that council's not just absorbing the cost of lights on sporting fields. There are so many. And I do actually have a query in relation to, I raised the issue of the memorial wall in Talbingo and asked the question, why did they pay $695 and yet all of the other niche walls and interments only pay $615? And if I could just ask the acting director to explain why there is that discrepancy and why Talbingo, who gets no perpetual maintenance, actually pays more money for the service that they receive.
Yeah, through Madam Mayor. The plaques at Talbingo are larger than elsewhere. Council holds the licence, so is responsible for the admin and audits with the crematorium authority in New South Wales. The new wall at the church was organised and paid for by council, and we need to recoup those costs and maintain that facility.
Thank you. And can I also just seek a clarification on, there's a line in here, the burial, when it refers to the burial rights, which in general are around about $1,200. So can you just explain for members of the community what a burial right, why we pay that much for them, or why they're paying that much for them?
I'm going to read it out because I'm not too familiar with the legislation in terms of the way cemeteries work, but the burial right fee purchases a right, which is a contract with the cemetery operator, and allows the right holder to undertake burials in a particular grave or other allotment in the cemetery. The holder of the burial right can determine who can be buried in the grave or other allotment. The burial right is an interest in the land, but the right holder does not become the owner of the land. Burial rights apply to burials in the earth, as well as burials of cremated remains in the earth, columbrium and niche wall. This is in line with the Cemeteries Memoria Act 2013. Please note that the Act mentions interment right rather than burial right, but it is the same thing.
Thank you. So if anyone else has comment, Madam Mayor.
Yep.
Yeah, just one comment, note on the operational budget, page 104, wage and salaries forecast to increase by 230, and that was based on a 3 to 4% award increase. The national wage case was handed down at 4.75. Will that impact on that figure? Does that 4.75 flow on automatically to our staff, or is the
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Packard, no. So the local government award is separate. They've set the award increases at 4%
4%.
in the next 3 years.
Thank you.
If I could just speak to page 212, which is about swimming pools. I don't know if we have to put an amendment in there, but I feel that under 2-year-olds should be free. Does that have to be put in as an amendment?
Yes.
I'm happy to put that as an amendment.
So
Have
page
a seconder.
212 of the attachment,
Under
which
two-
is page 80.
So
Mine says
No.
214, but I'm looking at the attachment from
The next one.
subject to
10.4. Yes, councillor Larder.
Does this have to be adopted today?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's got to be this financial year because of the budget.
I'll be seeking an amendment to page 153.
Okay. Could I just put in my amendment about the
Entry for swimming pools across the LGA.
Okay, that's my bit. Councillor Larder, what page are you on?
Uh,
Oh, I see. There's page, yeah, I see.
It's
Different-
21 or 153,
Yep.
aviation facilities. There's two new fees there being introduced for night flying training. $750 per night and $250 per takeoff. These are, I've never heard of anything like this in the aviation industry. I mean, even at Bankstown, this doesn't go on, so I'm not sure how this has been slipped through the this. I mean, we've got no way of even
Collecting the money.
collecting it or acknowledging who's doing it. So I think the rest of it's reasonable, but I don't see. I mean, even if you were to introduce it and manage it, in my view, these things are often more expensive to manage than they are to collect. And if an applicable fee at Bankstown would be $20, not. I mean, but you're talking about a major airport.
So just a question, if we did have a landing, say the air ambulance came in at night, do we then have to rescind this to?
No, because it's for commercial flying
Flying
schools
schools.
and non-emergency.
So
Yeah.
if I can clarify
I
this,
can only have so many windows open at once, it's very difficult.
this was raised at the April meeting because it's a new fee. So in terms of the night flying training fees, so it says, just following the recent aerodrome upgrade, pilot activated lighting has been installed to enable night landings and takeoffs. A fee will apply when the lighting system is activated to recoup some of the costs for that, is what it was proposed for.
So if there was a flying school, they're going, on Tuesday, we're going to be flying on and off. We need the lights turned on.
Yes,
And they go, fine, can we have that money? So they have to pay for that service.
yes,
Whereas if an air ambulance comes in, there's no charge.
Nothing.
There's no
that's
charge.
right.
Well, air ambulance are the ones that should be paying. They're funded by the government. I mean, so you're only if you're going to introduce the fee, they're the ones that you should be targeting because they're the ones
So it's for
that are
non-emergency.
cross-shifting
Yeah.
all their costs onto us. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. But it wouldn't. This is unprecedented in general aviation that you would be charging this. Like no other airport in Australia would be charging this. I mean, let alone some little tin-pot town in the Riverina. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So this is an attempt to try and get some extra funds because people now, we've got a shiny new airport, people might come to use our airport to do this.
I think you're absolutely right, councillor
And-
Hayes.
and-
We're trying to,
But
Get some money.
might more likely scare them away and send it somewhere else. Should it maybe be something on, cost on application or something? Something so we can work out who it is and what their capacity to pay is. I don't know. It'd be very valuable to have it happen. but, you know, I'm just, maybe this is a bit greedy. I'm not sure. And I'm no expert in aviation.
Could we have a workshop on, could we defer this, just those two things and have a workshop on the airport? And because I don't know much about it, I don't know if you know much about it at this stage.
He's built it.
Through,
Well, he knows how to build things.
through you, Madam Mayor, I didn't research the fees and I didn't do any benchmarking, so I can't
No.
really address whether it's an appropriate fee or not. I would
We
need
just don't know.
to take that on notice and
Whilst on the airport, one thing I would like to add is that make sure that it's in here, and I haven't seen it, that we still look at purchasing the land at the end of the year.
That's in our advocacy plan.
Is it in?
I have them for benchmarking.
So we had in our advocacy plan that we wanted to demerge, but we didn't have it in the IPNR, which was pointed out. So I think we need it in both.
Just to
We'll just stick on this one at the
Just to
moment.
confirm, so Coffs Harbour Airport, charge for night training, Cessnock Airport, Cooma Airport, Narrabri and Scone are the other ones that have similar fees.
At equivalent fees. similar.
They charge $750 a night.
What does Cooma charge?
No, so the changes vary.
What are the charges?
So
What is-
night training for Coffs Harbour is $40.50 per tonne. So we'll have to work out
Per
the
tonne.
equivalent.
Well, that's, you know, most aeroplanes are probably, that would be
200
doing flying
kilos.
training would probably be a ton.
Can we have a workshop on it and just really look into this and benchmark it? properly?
Is there Coomas? Because that's close to us. It'd be a regional.
It's a private airport.
So which means we would need to defer these fees.
Why would
till
Cooma be
next
there?
year.
It's a private airport.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
This is
Councillor
a
Thompson.
nice
without
fee.
closing debate, I think if we do the price on application, it gives the opportunity for further investigation to be done to understand what the cost recovery of the use of the electricity and power would be. And I thought that that was part of the aim, was to actually not just have continual utility fees that council is absorbing for private users. And if you're a commercial flying school, you're not giving away the lessons for free. So therefore, they should be paying something. But I think if we have price on application, it gives staff the opportunity to work out exactly how much it would cost to do it.
Councillor Words.
Yeah, I think hearing everyone's takes on it. The worst case scenario for this would be is if the prices are too high and it's prohibitively expensive for people to actually use the services being provided. Was just spent the 13 million on this airport. And you know, $750 for a commercial flying school and $250. I'm not a commercial instructor, so I don't know what the going
Just
rate.
wondering, is that an annual fee or? Yeah.
No, that's every
No,
night.
it's per
From
night.
6 till 10.
Yeah, and
Ridiculous.
It's only 4 hours in winter and 2 hours in the summer, probably for noise restrictions. But I think you're right. We should have a workshop, and there should be some investigation in.
And a bit of benchmarking and.
Well, if you want to actually make money from this service, as in to pay for itself, you really need to find the cost benefit analysis of where that line is. Otherwise, people just won't use that time frame, and the lights will be sitting there unused. So
So what sort of amendment are we coming up with, councillor
I'm happy
Martin?
for price of.
Yeah,
Well, I
As a
just don't
mover,
even know why you
I
need it.
accept price on application.
Is that legal? Can we do that? Is
all
that
through the rest of the report.
Councillor Thompson's saying that for those two ones, we put on price on application.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't, you know, these fees have never been there. You've got no way of administering them to begin with. I mean, why not introduce meter parking up the main street? It's the same thing. It's the same concept. I mean, everything costs. It's a case of we've been given this, you know, people aren't just going to be out there taking advantage of this. I mean, this was set up primarily for emergency use, and the odd person that, you know, may fly in Visy or whoever that does business in the town. I don't see it as a case of somebody
Commercial
out there.
flying, you're a pilot. When you get your license, do you have to do some nighttime flying?
No,
That's not part of. it's not
I
like-
don't have a night rating, so it won't affect me.
Right,
So I don't.
okay,
I've
so that's a
got
night
no
rating.
vested interest in it, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, a 16-year-old kid that wants to be a commercial pilot, that's working at McDonald's to, fulfill their dream. I think it's a bit steep when they're paying $500 an hour to learn to fly, to then get a $750 bill from the council and another $250 per landing. I mean, it's pretty outrageous in the scheme of things. I mean, everyone thinks that people in aviation are, multi-millionaires, but they're not. They're generally just bat who are,
Yeah, as is council. Councillor Lada, Councillor Thompson's moved this, and her idea of price on application actually addresses very much if there was a 16-year-old, and I know there was a 16-year-old out there who was very impressive in getting his license and everything.
But I think the problem is, Madam Mayor, is that, somebody may well be flying from Sydney to Wagga, the weather's bad. If they look at Tumut Airport, they say, yes, you can land there at night. They fly in here and they park and they go to the local.
Yeah, but that's
hotel.
emergency.
It's not an emergency. That's just
Common sense.
That's just what happens in aviation. But they haven't got the opportunity to get on the phone and say, oh, how much are you going to charge me to land? It's crazy.
If we do it on a price on application, that gives us 12 months to work all this out.
Just a question on the lights. Are they on every night, just automatically, or do you have to book this?
No, they activate on a
Activate.
radio. So
Right.
you basically just hit the frequency 3 times and they come on. I could go out there and do it all night. I could
So
do it every half hour. Turn them on. They stay on for an hour.
Okay.
Probably cost $10 to run it. Who knows? I don't
Aviation facility
know.
fees and charges associated with night flying training and landing and takeoff to POA.
I think you'll have to say commercial flying for non-emergency.
What was that, sorry?
You'll have to mention specifically commercial flying school and non-emergency price on application. Otherwise, it's everyone.
Why complicate it? Why not just get rid of it and defer it back to the airport committee and let them come up with something? I mean, it's just like this is
Well, that's it.
end up in.
They'll be able to do that now. They will be able to do that now. Price on application.
No, it'll go
Apply.
to council first and then people will run away with their tails between their legs. Because
This will just complicate
airport
things.
committee won't hear about it.
Yeah, that won't.
Like it's a new fee. Why we don't have to introduce it? We can just amend it and to not have it.
Well, I think, as councillor Wirt said, it would be good to have a workshop and actually look into all of this. Like, this is one little point that you've picked up on, and I think it's very valid. But there are lots of other things I don't understand about the airport, and I think we should really look into all of it.
Through you, Madam Mayor, are you happy for me to put this issue on the agenda of the next Airport Ministers Committee?
and bring a thing to council about,
Following, we'll minute what the outcome is of that
and
meeting.
that can be added in if the council wants to add it in.
You think? Okay, anything else
Yes,
about the IPNR? Yes, councillor Hayes.
two things. Sale yards, I went to a
What
meeting.
page are you on, councillor?
Not any of
Meeting
them.
Well, you still may talk.
Sort of speaking off topic really in a way, but I went to a meeting of the Sale Yards Committee, who are now no longer a Council 355 committee, but they still meet the people who use the sale yards. So I went along there the other day, and I might note that they're not happy about the proposal to remove the toilets and the facilities there, given that they have leased them, and they're happy to maintain them. So I just wanted it known that they're happy to keep looking after those, and they'd like them to remain there. The second thing was the holding fees, other than sale day, So in 2023, they were $2.65. And in 2024-25, they went to $7, and now they're up to $8. I think it's $8, isn't it?
$7.
It's $7,
It
is
was
it?
$7.20 last year. It's $7 this year. It's gone down.
Okay, so it's $7. And do we collect those?
How much money have we made out of this? Chief
So
Financial
you've got all these
Officer.
fees,
No one's
and
collecting.
you put them up and up and up and up. But are you collecting anything?
I can't.
I'll have to find
out,
Till.
Yeah, put that on notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I know when, like there was a sale down there just a little while ago and they paid. But in the past, there've been sales held there. We haven't collected anything. I've actually sent the newspaper clipping which says who sold what, how many were sold, and the agent, and council's done nothing about it. So we've got people using the yards.
And there's no invoicing
There's
system.
no invoicing. It's an honesty system. But you're dealing with cattle buyers.
And to the, in a little bit to their defence, you know, they're not focused on giving council money, are they? They're trying to get their cattle sold and.
Well, yes and no, but some people might be taking advantage of us as well. And, you know, look, I know that these yards are, you know, we just had a big thing in Tumbarumba where they've opened a facility that does the same thing as this. This is a facility that in the event of an emergency, it is there, it provides an opportunity for people to bring their cattle in or their horses or whatever they've got and hold them safely during a time of emergency, whether it be a flood or a fire or whatever. So, you know, they're essential for that. And especially given the amount of money that we get from rural ratepayers, you know, I think it's one thing we can do for them. They're leased for most of the time by the associated agents, and I just think, or elders, and I think we need to look after them as well. You know, we don't need to keep hitting them with huge rises in the costs, and also we want to maintain the facilities down there because they're maintaining. We just don't want to knock them down.
Can I ask the Director of Infrastructure, is that true about the toilets? Are they about to be decommissioned or anything?
It's in our last report.
It's an identifying the asset management strategies.
Yeah, as an asset for disposal.
Mm.
Yeah.
Look, I suggest that we look more at the Boys Club Hall first, and then toilets later. Right, that's mine.
And while we're talking about
Oh, I
controversial,
have one more.
oh, no, I was going to get in. You go.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Look, I've been looking at what other councils are doing and they're getting grants and all that sort of thing for subdivision and housing estates, because, you know, there's a housing shortage. We all know that. We know that we lost a lot of houses in the whole area during the fires, and not a lot of those have been built back. And you know, and there are people coming to our community. They can't find a house to rent. The ones that are there might be too dear, or the vendors asking too much money for them. But we don't seem to be proactive as a council in saying, yeah, we're pro development. We want to get some more housing development. You know, we want to open up a bit more land. We want to apply to the government to get some funds to do that. We're just not doing it. I just think that there'd be something like a positive paragraph in that document that says that's positive for the developer, that's positive for people in the community, and it's positive for council.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more state government support to help councils do that, because, you know, there's a big cost at doing that. And we do have No View Estate, which has now gone on to a
We do, but even in a town like mine, Adelong, yeah, where we used to have a teacher housing house, for some reason the state government sold it, even though it's fully occupied. You know, so we don't have teacher housing. You know, we don't have these.
It was actually brought up at the Rural and Regional Conference that, you know, they're supporting a lot of the city
So what
development.
can we do about it?
Yeah.
As a council and as councillors?
What would
And
you like us to-
I think it should be reflected in this document somewhere that we're open for business.
It's sort of discussed But in a much more negative sense, under operational budget, page 104, Ray White Tumbarumba says, due to current market conditions, including higher interest rates, increased construction costs and reduced demand for vacant residential land within regional areas, anticipated that the Snowy View Estate is going to sell much more slowly.
17.
So yeah, it's, I hear what you're saying, but that's not what the professionals are telling us.
But I think that's what councillor Hayes wants to spin it and just go, no, because we've got cheap land, we've got lots of land, and we've got lots of land.
The land that
Council
we have
doesn't have
isn't,
lots of land.
No, I'm not talking council.
the land,
Like,
the land that we have isn't available for development because of the zoning.
That's right.
we are restricted by the LEP.
Until 2028 because the LEP is locked in till then. But we can advocate and have the ball rolling so that when that comes around and there's 2 new councils, we can engage and advocate for those. But I think Councillor Hayes is right. We need to have this in the IPNR documents because otherwise council can't act on those.
Yeah. Otherwise, someone will say it's not in the IPNR document.
Well,
So we wait another 2 years.
And we can have it in an advocacy plan, but if it's not in the
I
actual-
wonder what the Director of Community and Corporate is thinking about this, seeing this is your world.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Look, as I mentioned the other day, we have been undertaking a number of underpinning strategies at this point in time relating to not only bushfire land mapping, we've done a lot of constraints mapping as well in terms of finalisation of the Tumut flood study and the Tumbarumba flood study. We're nearing completion of the Brongal flood study, and Adlong's coming in behind that as well. So these studies will feed into an overall picture in terms of residential housing strategy for Snowy Valleys, something we're keen to progress and something that we're continuing to talk to the Department of Planning in relation to. So once we get these studies finished, it's something that we will be progressing at a great rate of knots.
Good.
At a great rate of knots. That's what we like to hear.
Thank you. I would just like to bring up on page 77 or page 211, the annual fee for schools, which has been $5 per student for the last 5 years, 5 years.
Not in my time as mayor, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't your time as mayor.
No, it was council.
It was in the last council. There's been no movement and there's been no complaints. Should it go up 20 cents, 50 cents, or should it just remain?
I think considering we're heading towards a de-amalgamation, it's probably something that at this point
Leave as is,
leave as is and leave for the 2 new entities to
work out how they do their schools. Okay.
That's just
Otherwise, we'll have Roy and HG on about the poor little kiddies in Camp Hogan again.
Okay, so who's closing debate?
That would be me, Madam Mayor, unless anybody else needs.
I think
So, first of all, are you happy with the 2 amendments that are up there?
The amendment that we actually, the first one was that,
The 2-year-olds not be charged?
yes,
And the
and
2s?
also that the price on application for the night landing fee, which requires lights.
Thank you.
no, can we resolve that?
Price on application and that we'd
Yes,
actually look at
yeah.
it.
That just sort of like gives us a year to
Yeah.
do some work on it.
We're just coming back to it.
Madam Mayor, in closing debate, I think what has gone around the table, and yes, points that we've actually discussed are of interest, but there are so many other line items within the fees and charges alone, let alone all of the delivery plans, that we haven't even touched on. And it makes it incredibly difficult when you can't come together as a council to actually have a frank and open discussion on some of this. And I hear what Councillor Lada says about, they've never been charged before. Well, we didn't have the lights and the capacity for night landing out there the way that we now have. And each of those issues actually come at a cost to council. We're trying to find 2 sustainable councils after 2028. And we can't just keep saying, well, we won't charge for that and we won't charge for that. We need to be looking at how do we genuinely recoup some sort of revenue for the facilities that we're providing that people are choosing to use. If I play a sport, then it's my responsibility to provide the equipment that is needed for that. And the same can be said for our sporting fields. We provide the sporting fields, we maintain them, but there also comes a cost if you want exclusive use to them at certain times. So it's incredibly difficult to be able to have frank and open discussions on all of these without being able to have workshops and briefings. But more so, I think, if nothing else, what we need to be doing is making sure that going forward, that we actually are trying to generate some income from the facilities that people are choosing to use or the services that they're accessing.
Thank you, councillor Thompson. There we are. We have those up on the board, the two recommendations. All those in favour? So we have councillor Thompson, councillor Packard, councillor Hayes, councillor Inglis, councillor Hardwick, councillor Wirtz, councillor Ham, and councillor Latta against. Thank you, councillors. 10.7. This is quite a procedural one, am I right? So making of the 2026-27 rates and charges. Just through to the general manager, is this one is just.
It happens every year, so it's just setting the rates for next financial year and confirming the annual charges as well.
Okay. Do I have a mover?
Yeah.
Councillor Packard, seconder. Councillor Wirtz, councillor Packard.
I mean, it's one of the hugest pieces of work we do, but it just does need to be done. So it's, yeah.
Councillor Inglis.
Madam Mayor, I can't vote in favour of hitting the community, members of the community with extra charges. I appreciate our financial situation. Until such time as I'm satisfied that we've done all we can internally to effect savings. And I'm not convinced we have. And I'll use one example, and that is in Professor Bro's report, he noted critically, Bro's a doctor, critically that in the previous 12 months, overtime had increased by 40%. And he thought that there was an area there that we could make some savings and recommended that be investigated. Now, I don't know how much is involved and whether that's been in fact investigated.
Because that report, those figures would be 4 years old now, I'd say. More.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened since then.
To the general manager, do you have any?
So it's in terms of overtime, is your question around overtime? So council monitors overtime monthly, so those reports are provided to executive. So we go through those figures. We also like to identify what projects incur overtime, and usually they're on our private works or grant funded projects. Sometimes staff do need to incur overtime, especially our service staff, with cleaning of facilities and toilets. So that's tracked on a monthly basis.
Well, has it been identified? I mean, has it been followed through? And have any savings been identified?
So it changes from year to year depending on the projects, but I don't have the figures on hand. But as I said, they are tracked monthly to make sure that it's not excessive, it's not wasteful, it's tracked per department and then per project.
Well, let's examine in the last financial year, did overtime decrease, increase, or remain much?
I think the chief financial officers got some.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
No.
No, the general manager was. But the chief financial officer would know, yes.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, correct. So we do track it monthly, and the overtime was over budget until March, but it is now dropping down. So the last figure that will be going to next week's executive team meeting would be approximately 10,000 under budget. So it is coming under budget. So
thank you.
And it's tracking good.
And it's being monitored closely.
Correct,
I think that's what Councillor Inglis wants.
Correct, yeah. So it's approximately 10,000, but yeah. And then majority of the adjustments will be completed towards the year end, which is only 2 weeks to go now. So yeah.
And are you confident that there are no support savings we can make internally?
Majority of the overtime.
No, generally, across the board.
Sorry, just on overtime or like a?
No,
Oh,
across the
everything,
board.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we do have employee expenses that's under budget with the staff vacancies. Overtime, that's part of the salaries expenses. That is predominantly capitalized for the private works or the capital projects that is completed. And from the revenue side, we do have caravan park, wastewater and water fund septic pump out charges. That's giving us a lot of $2 or $3 million above budget revenue. So it is looking the draft P&L or the income statement as of today, or as it what would be going to the executive team meeting next week, is looking quite in surplus, but I don't want to give out the numbers at.
No, I'm not suggesting you should, but there's no room for any further belt tightening internally.
Except for the depreciation,
I can answer that.
I think everything we have budgeted is looking really close to the budget.
Councillor Inglis, and just to confirm, we just adopted we have adopted a productivity and cost savings plan. So that's the whole idea behind the plan, is to go through and to point out areas that we can save money. And the expectation is we will report back every 6 months against the actions in those plans.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Just speaking in favour of the motion, the executive summary actually outlines that the 3.1% is what we've been allowed by government to actually increase our rates, and that's what we've applied. There is no special rate variation within our document here. The other thing is that, just listening to the Chief Financial Officer, is that if we have staff positions that aren't filled, then to me it would make sense that unfortunately some staff need to do overtime to pick up that extra work that isn't being undertaken by staff members, because we're actually under staffing. And this is about rates and charges. It's not about the fees and charges where we have more discretion in how much we're charging. We're not permitted by law to actually raise more than what has been given to us. And I also note that at the very end of the report, it does say that council is required to adopt the rates and charges so that it can go in effective as of the 1st of July. So this hasn't actually increased what we're charging people, other than what we've been told we're allowed to. And if we don't add that 3.1 on, that's when you start the snowball effect of getting further and further behind.
Thank you. Is Councillor Packer?
Can I close debate?
Oh,
Yes, you
can I speak against it?
Yeah.
Look, I agree with Councillor Inglis. I'm not going to support this. At the end of the day, it's like the previous suite of upgrades. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to things being introduced or substantiated as to what they actually cost and what we can charge them. It's just piecemeal stuff. I mean, $750 for somebody to land at night. I mean, we don't even know what the cost is. Some councillors are staying in hotels that are $450 a night down at the Alga, and some are staying in $250. So, I mean, you want to get fair dinkum about saving money. Bashing up the bloody ratepayer isn't the way to do it.
Thank you, Councillor Lada. Councillor Packer, do you want to close?
Close debate. I asked earlier about the wage increase. So our wage increase is 4%. The rate increase is 3.1%. I think if members of the public feel that council is overcharging through their rates, that's not the case. Wages are going up faster than the allowable rates that we're approving or would be voting on approving tonight. And I would be absolutely certain, although I don't have any visibility of it, that the cost of the goods and materials such as bitumen and the other materials, building materials that we use in our capital works, is going up a lot faster than 3.1%. Building houses has gone up something like 50% since start of COVID. So I imagine that's applying the same thing to us. So by only adopting and not asking for special rate variation, we are actually still slipping behind in terms of our overall costs with what we're getting through income. That's why I think, we just have to accept this, and it's still tough for council to operate within that budget constraint.
Just what Councillor Cracker just brought up.
That was the closer
Clarify what
debate.
our,
That was the closer debate.
That
Was the closer.
okay.
Well, so we've got 11 recommendations there, councillors. All those in favour? Okay, so Councillor Thompson, Councillor Packard, Councillor Wirtz, Councillor Hardwick, Councillor Ham. Against Councillor Hayes, Councillor Larter, Councillor Inks. Thank you. Moving on to proposed donations, 11.8, page 52. Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Hardwick. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Only to say, I think what we need to do before next year is to actually go through and have a look and to reassess some of the ways that the donations or the way in which it's looked at. So we have it here before us tonight. And it goes back again, it's very difficult to be able to go line by line and find out everything without being able to do it in a prudent fashion, because some things do need to be sensitive and confidential. It's not a matter of not being transparent. It is a matter of just being able to put the information there so that when the report is produced, it can actually reflect what council's direction is.
Could I just speak to the School Book Awards? Last year, I had the privilege of going to the Montreal Theatre for the Tumut High School presentation, which was really very impressive. But there was no book award from Snowy Valleys Council, apparently something weird for many reasons. But if that can certainly happen this year, be appreciated.
You would think if the
I think
donation
they
is made that they should.
prefer the line marking for free.
Quite possibly. Any other comments?
Look, I'd say I went to the Charles Sturt University Scholarship as I do most years, and Tumut Shire Council and I think Tumbarumba, Tumut did it for over 20 years, and suddenly it's just, if you can't find $10,000 in a $90 million budget for education, it's a sad indictment. I think I'd like to see that back before too long.
Yeah. I know councillors are all very aware that we are trying very hard to make sure we get better community benefits to come to council so that we can support things like that for the grants programs we used to have, to increase the library hours again, to increase the pool hours. This is what we're seeing. We just, and you're right, $10,000 doesn't seem like much at all.
It's the cost of one code of conduct complaint, probably.
Well, let's hope we don't have many of those. But yeah, I take your point. I take your point very seriously.
Yeah, I think I had the most against me during my time as well. So don't you worry about that.
Don't feel alone.
No competition here, councillors. Okay. Councillor Thompson, do you want to close? No one else? Is there anything to say?
Just very quickly, Madam Mayor, I think council does contribute to education. We now have the Country University Centre as well, that we make a significant contribution in relation to the building and the funds that we're providing there as well. And while, like at Lowe, Lumpert, just charging $5 for the schools to access our sporting fields and our swimming pools is, we are making a contribution, and if we had unlimited funds, of course, we would do everything for everyone without having to even bat an eyelid. That is not the case, and this is unfortunately a part of making the really tough decisions.
Councillors, all in favour to the two recommendations? So, all in favour, Councillor Hayes. And they will make the one hopes. 10.9, the Riverina Regional Library Deed of Agreement. There's two recommendations there. Councillor Larder, seconded by Councillor Packard. Councillor Larder. Just, the General Manager and I both went through all this deed of agreement. We're very happy with it. All those in favour? Unanimous. 10.10, draft artificial intelligence policy for public exhibition. 3 recommendations there, noting that it's out for 28 days. Mover? Councillor Larder, seconded Councillor Thompson. Councillor Larder?
Only that I'd still like to maybe discuss it before it's automatically approved.
Can we take it to the 2nd of July workshop?
Be coming up to the next meeting.
We're under the old code.
Old code. We're back on the old code. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot to learn there. Any other points of discussion? Councillor Thompson?
Madam Mayor, just to raise the concern that the agentic AI, just all the terminology that I had no idea what it was. Agentic AI refers to artificial intelligence systems that can be autonomously pursue goals, plan tasks, and make decisions with minimal human supervision. This is like beyond the Jetsons of Rosie coming and preparing tea. There are issues of concern that I have, and I do think, you know, we need to be very prudent when using AI, and even how we as individual councillors or as a staff disclose the AI assistance that maybe we get if we're using it in the future to prepare reports or things. We thought cyber safety was an issue of concern. I have very real concerns about the artificial intelligence future.
Yes,
In
Councillor
most
Inglis.
government bodies, it's banned. You know, I'm a tribunal member of the Personal Injuries Committee.
And they don't let you use it at
We're
all.
not
Do you
allowed.
think it's
We have
being
to
used?
certify in our decisions that we have not used artificial
Intelligence.
intelligence, as do doctors in their medical reports.
Yeah, schools are only chat GPT's out. It's got to be EduChat. It's got to be the internal one. Yeah.
Could I ask a question of the Director of Community and Corporate? Do we use AI at all in planning?
Through you, Madam Mayor, at this stage we don't. There are a number of councils out there that are using a product called Daisy, which does a lot of the pre-screening of applications being submitted to council. It's something that we may be looking at in the future, but we're not using at this stage.
Thank you. Councillor Works.
Yeah, I do want to dig into this because I think a lot of people look at AI with doom and gloom, but it is here and it'll be here to stay. So it's something that everyone will have to get on board with to some extent at some point, and this council will be no different. There is a lot of risks, but there is efficiencies within AI structures. Agentic AI or agents have the ability to make council more efficient, which is something that
A broke council might look
the
at.
productivity and efficiency plan or cost and savings plan that we've just put in. This is another option, and potentially, if we're trying to save money, and there's agentic AI which can more efficiently do tasks, whether Daisy can screen DA approvals and make them quicker. I mean, that might make a lot of people submitting DAs a lot more pleased about a 30-day turnaround as opposed to a 60-day turnaround. It's just an avenue that we can explore, and we shouldn't be afraid to pursue it. But there is a lot of risks, and obviously mistakes can be made if you don't review those AI responses.
We don't want to be a dinosaur either. So, yeah.
It's obviously an issue that will be hitting all local government. Is our peak body, have they got working parties on it? Are they going to be giving direction and recommendations at the
Well, just for the public's interest, we've got 5 councillors who are all going off to the ALGA conference, the Australian Local Government Association conference. So thank you to those 5. But it'll be interesting to see if that comes up.
Madam Mayor, it was actually a major issue, if not last year, the year before at National General Assembly. And it was a whole session on AI and how local government and government in general needs to start embracing it, because as Councillor Wirtz just said, it is the future and we can't just blinkers on and go, not in our backyard. We just need to manage it.
Councillor Hardwick.
Thank you. There is a care that needs to be had with this as well. As someone who uses AI quite extensively in different facets and different types of AI as well, it's quite interesting. I'm going through the process of doing my first development application. If you ask AI to look for positives or negatives, it will give you whatever you ask for. If I say, fail this development application, it'll fail it. If I say pass this development application, it'll pass it. And it's the exact
You've got to
same
feed it.
And so you really, and hopefully these developments are happening within AI to make sure that it is smart enough and that we have the control as well over the top of it. So I understand this is just going out for the 28 days, but it'd be good to see if there are any submissions as well from the public.
Yep, great. Okay, so that was Councillor Thompson, I think. No, Councillor Larder, I beg your pardon. Do you want to close the debate? No.
I need to say it needs to come back to council.
Yep.
I just don't want it being automatically approved.
Sorry, I'm just looking at that recommendation. Is that okay? Endorse?
No, because the
Yeah,
last one-
public exhibition. So we don't want to endorse it then, do we?
we're endorsing it for public exhibition.
Yeah.
Number 3, adopt a draft intelligence policy.
Yeah,
If no submission
council-
received.
For public exhibition,
Just that third
Just
Third
drop
point.
3 and we're good.
review
yep,
at
just
next
drop
council
3. Yep.
meeting.
You happy with that, councillor Thompson?
Well, it doesn't actually say that because point 2 says that only if submissions are received during the exhibition, a further report will be provided to council.
I think we should get a further
Drop
report
2 then.
regardless.
So
Drop
you just take out if submissions are received, you just need to say a further report will be provided to
We'll
council.
take out 2 and
Yes.
3.
No, you need to leave.
You
part
need to
of
say
it.
a further report.
Right. A further report
Yeah.
will be provided to council. Well done.
Get rid of it.
Okay, councillors,
But we
all,
also need
But we'll-
to adopt the draft intelligence policy. Oh, no.
No, we don't.
No, that's
We
only
wanted to talk about it
Yeah.
before doing that.
Yep.
no, that will go into our, when it returns.
Yep.
To adoption. And so 3 can be taken out.
We just ask ChatGPT if we should do this.
Yeah, so that's council's standard
Gemini can.
Yeah.
policy with
That's the right thing to do.
with
ChatGPT.
exhibition documents.
Well done. Happy with that, councillor Larder?
Best way to.
Councillors, all those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Statement of investments, May 2026.
Move that way.
Councillor Packard, seconded by councillor Hardwick. Councillor Packard?
Just note that it's moved fairly positively.
Yep.
And, the interest rates going up, we had that risk that we had of, I mean, I know it's not great for people that have mortgages, but for us, it does certainly, pay dividends. So, yeah,
Just ask a question for clarification. On page 65, the counterparty compliance, just wondering why the Commonwealth Bank has a cross against the compliant as a AA minus. Is that because we've got too much money?
Our
in
Chief
there?
Financial Officer.
Through you, Madam Mayor, correct, yes. So we had approximately $7.5 million grant funding that came through. Majority of that was relating to the EVAC Centre and the Tumut Aerodrome related. So yeah, so it's probably turning out to be a timing issue.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hayes?
Adelon Creek Riparian Works is down there, and I just take the opportunity to say how good it looks.
It looks great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's really good,
And I-
particularly the work on Bleak Street.
Yeah, and also the way that the comms handled it and everyone seemed to know what was going on.
Did you think so?
I thought so.
Because they said that it looks really good, and people said, "What?"
Ah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's fantastic. Really is good.
Councillors, all those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 11.1, Aged Care Act requirements and service review. We've got 2 recommendations there. Councillor Packard?
I'd like to move recommendation 1, and I've sent through a foreshadowed amendment to number two.
Excellent.
That amendment.
It's not a foreshadowed amendment, a foreshadowed change,
Just an amendment.
a change,
Just a change.
which
Yeah.
hopefully Jeannie can pop up there for you.
Second, that, Madam Mayor.
Is that rain?
It'll be
Oh,
right.
here comes the rain. Always a good day.
And not be handling on my car.
Not going on, do we?
Okay,
Okay, so do you want me to speak to it? Since
is
it's up there?
this your number two that's
Yep,
up there
yep,
now?
that's right.
Okay, so amended from, okay, number two,
Number two's dropped out here and that's replacing it.
Yep, just scroll down to number two, so, yep.
So do you want me to speak to it, just so I can explain it?
sure.
So this quite happy with number one. Number two is suggesting that we go out to market and approve the engagement, or having gone out and got quotes, approve the engagement of a person to do a full service review on our aged care delivery requirements and compliance. There was a report done for Snowy Valleys Council in 2021, so only 4 years ago, that cost a lot of money at the time, and I've dug through it and had a read of it, and in my view, it's still significantly relevant. There's no need to go to do another entire report. Taking the report that's done in 2021, really all we need to do is get somebody to say, well, there's been a couple of changes. There's been council's decided to de-amalgamate, which obviously is a logistical and strategic change for council's direction, and there's going to be implications from that. And there's been a change to the Commonwealth Aged Care Act, and there's some implications that come out of that. That should not cost nearly as much as going out and doing an entire service review, because our services are still essentially the same. The underpinning research that was done into the previous report is still essentially the same. The councillors who were there in 2021 would remember that report.
Yeah,
It was a
very much.
well-constructed report. So to me, it's throwing out something which is still significantly relevant at a significant cost, and this is a sort of a middle ground to get advice on where things have changed and how recommendations would change based on that.
Could I just ask the general manager, is that something we could do internally?
So, yeah, so we would go seek quotes.
I know,
No.
do the critique of it.
Do the critique internally?
Oh,
The bones are there.
So-
Put it through our,
Could we recirculate that to the councillors and maybe defer this for?
Yeah.
well, it'll probably handy if I sort of give council an update of where we are so
Sure.
far, because we have done something along these lines. So in late 2025, council engaged a Commonwealth funded aged care business workforce advisory service. And what it did, it went to assess council's readiness for the transition in terms of the new age framework. So what the review focused on, it focused on service agreements with aged care clients. It also looked at our policies and procedures to make sure they were all up to date. It also looked at the governance framework and the councillors' responsibility under the Act. So since receiving that review from them, the new service arrangements for supported home clients has been implemented. So we have done that. We are undertaking a comprehensive review of our policies and procedures to make sure they're all up to date. Staff have undertaken specialised training in this area to manage the service as well. A financial systems assessment, policy and audit and continuous improvement plan have also been completed. Council is using the Aged Care Quality Standards self-assessment questionnaire tool to look at any areas we need improvement on, or where we are sort of meeting those standards. And as discussed with councillors previously, we have committed to commencing regular reporting to council on this area from July 2026 onwards, using some templates that were created through this consultancy service. So at the moment, the consultant didn't identify any critical compliance issues for council, rather than trying to strengthen our sort of governance arrangements in that space, which is what staff is currently working on. So that's the work that's been done to date so far.
and can you talk about our governance responsibilities, I think, for the 9 of us, or 8 sitting around the table.
Yeah, so as I think we might discuss this at the last meeting, so councillors are now considered responsible persons under the Act and do have to undertake mandatory checks as well. But in order to be responsible persons, that was the idea behind of reporting to council. So you are aware of where we're up to with the policies and procedures, progress against any actions that need to be undertaken, any incidences or injuries that have arisen. So that's the plan going forward. I think the report does identify from memory, there was a question asked about councillor insurance, I think, at the last meeting. And I think it does say the councillors are covered under our insurance as well. So that's been clarified in the report.
So there's no need for point 2.
So was my question. Then why was recommendation 2 in there if we've already got all that body of work being done?
Because we as councillors thought it was a good idea. And yeah.
Okay. So the question now comes is this worth this part? Certainly, I think I'd be happy to defer it and have that report circulated to all current councillors so they can have a look at it and see if they think there's value in retreading some of the recommendations coming out of it.
I support what Councillor Packer.
Deferment.
But could I also say, add to the information pool that these amendments don't come into effect until June next year. So we've got a bit of time to get our house in order. And secondly, the Act does apply.
Other ones to count.
Section 12 says to responsible persons. Now, I was interested in the general manager's comment that we will get reports about what's going on. But to be a responsible person, it says a person dealing with councillors potentially, a person who is responsible for the executive decisions of a registered provider includes a member of the governing body of that provider. Now, will we be responsible for executive decisions or will they be made by someone else?
Sounds operational to me.
Through you, Madam Council Inglis. So this is what local government across New South Wales has been saying, that councillors' role is meant to be strategic. It's not meant to be operational. So LG New South Wales has been advocating on council's behalf to have that clarified and potentially changed. But as it stands, the advice we have sought says we need to do reporting to council. So you are aware of the operations in that area, which obviously has a conflict with councillors' roles, yes.
But will we be making executive decisions? Because that's what the section in the Act says. We can perhaps consider this later as well.
Yeah.
But I just raised that.
Yeah. And I also think going to the
it's more than a technicality.
Because we can't be the only council in this position.
I think that's where there's a disconnect between the Commonwealth legislation and the state. Remember, this is written for the Commonwealth.
It's a Commonwealth Act.
New South Wales has different, acts governing local government. So it's a bit of uncharted territory. So I'd be happy to take number 2 out and put in there instead, circulate the 2021 service review that I'm referring to there to all councillors, because there is a bit of time. I just want to make it very clear that I do think it's really important for us to have this wrapped up so that in the de-amalgamation considerations, we're not basically selling a pig in a poke because nearly all of these are in the Tumbarumba area. And there are so many changes around this area, both legislative and operational, that it's going to be I think it's really important that we have a clear picture to be able to pass on to the new council coming down there, both financially and operationally.
So they know what they're getting.
What this area and potentially the childcare area, what the longer term implications are for keeping those or not keeping them, because there have been changes since 10 years ago were operating them.
Number 2.
Yes.
Noted by the Chief Transition Officer.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. So where did we get to? Are we deferring or we're just noting?
And adding a new 2 that we just circulate that 2021 report to all councillors and consider the matter later.
And was there, did this independent review have a report that we could read as well?
I can check. Sure.
I think we should add that as
The
well.
2021 was confidential, the report. I know that it had on the front. Should it be and retain that confidentiality, or?
Possibly, because it,
It would have identified individuals in there.
I'll have to have a reread, and as I said, at this stage, it's only been sent to councillors, not,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, like it shouldn't be sent on to the wider community at this.
Right, but if it is confidential, noting that. Yeah. Thank you.
And just noting too that we will get a report in July. So next month there will be a report on this.
I think we're saying, from July onwards, so either, like July or.
Could be August.
Yeah.
Give us time to read it. It's a fairly big report, the 2021.
No, from the actual,
From council.
From the
operations.
council's operations.
Yeah.
Oh,
community
sorry,
service,
the operation.
Not from
report.
us.
Yeah,
The
no,
operation.
aiming from like
As
July
in
onwards.
outlining
Yeah.
the
Long.
incidents.
We don't need a motion on that, do we? That
No,
just
because
is.
that was happening
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, so now we've got two recommendations there, councillor Packard and councillor Thompson. You're happy with both those?
Absolutely.
Councillors, are you happy to shut?
Yep.
Yep. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, Adelon Main Street Design Master Plan for councillor Hayes, seconded by councillor Larder. Councillor Hayes, the day has come.
Well, thank you for everybody involved in this. It's taken a long time, but it's a start to getting the Main Street repaired. There's a lot of work to do. And every time it rains, as it is now, there's an issue. So it's really good. It's a good step. Thank you.
Does the acting Director of Infrastructure want to speak to it at all?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the community for the feedback that they provided, post the presentations that we made on the concept. So a lot of that community feedback was incorporated where we could into the revised version, which we're asking to go out on public exhibition. So I think people will be pleased to see some of their thoughts and input get incorporated into the design. I will say that we will bring this back to the elected body with some more information than just the master plan. So we're doing full construction level drawings and cost estimates and all that, so that we have a design on the shelf ready for grant funding potential. So that one day, hopefully we'll get a grant that allows us to proceed with the bill.
But we could also stage it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
within the report, sort of noted a couple of opportunities. And I noted a couple of the sort of the main features of the design and what it's changing from how it is today to the proposed. So I think everyone should be fairly pleased with the outcome. And if you look at the actual document that we're asking to put out on exhibition, it's a pretty fine looking document in your attachments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well presented.
Very well presented.
So I think we'll get some positive feedback through the exhibition process, but likewise, if we get some opportunities to refine things, we will do that and bring the final document back to council in due course.
And we don't like parallel parking.
No, we don't. It became fairly obvious that option wasn't supported by the majority of the community. So we maintained the 45 degrees. I guess I could share my opinion, but my opinion was probably not with the 45 because there was other opportunities available, but power to the people, give them what they want. It's a terrific vision for the future, and you only build a streetscape once every 50 to 100 years, you know what I mean? So you might as well reach for the stars a little bit. This design's quite respectful to, low maintenance and lower cost items as well. Like we're not painting the street in gold, but it's fairly a significant step forward for the community. So yeah, I recommend you getting it out on exhibition and let the punters see what they
I
think.
like their traffic management ideas, and that would change the usage of Adelon a lot, particularly with trucks.
The only thing I'd say is please make sure that the plantings, particularly around corners and at intersections. Even at the moment in Tumut, there's so many areas that if you're in a low car, you can't actually see around the corner.
Yeah.
You can't see if they've got blinkers on. And the same with even leaving down here at tolls, you can't see past the little sign that gives you the arrow if you're coming in the other way. So hopefully the plantings are all low and far enough back from the intersections that they won't impede.
You'll be pleasantly surprised that that's exactly what was in mind of the landscape architect.
Well, I did raise it when we went through it.
Councillor Hayes, do you want to close debate?
Yes, look, I'd like to thank the acting director for his enthusiasm and commitment to this project. It's been wonderful and been very good to work with, and the community are of the same opinion. So that's always good when the communities follow along. I think in most cases it's sympathetic towards the heritage aspect of the town, which we've got to be very cognizant of. There will be a bit of shock and awe if and when some of the trees are removed. But in saying that, all but 3 of those trees in that Main Street block have been planted in the 21st century.
Yeah.
So they're fairly new trees, and they've grown.
They grow fast.
They've gone particularly well, which is unfortunate.
Councillors, you've got those 2 recommendations there. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. 11.3 Multi-Purpose and Evacuation Centre Operation and Management Agreement. There's 1 recommendation there. Do I have a mover? Councillor Thompson? Councillor Packard? Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is another one of those really, really difficult, like within the report itself, because everything, all of the attachments are in confidential. We can't really discuss the benefits to the community. And I'm hoping that once this is passed, or if this is passed, then there can be an arrangement done with the proponents so that we can actually do a proper story outlining to the community what the enormous benefits are. Because at this stage, because of commercial in confidence, we can't mention a single thing in any of the reports that we've read. So we're saying, yes, we're going to actually, provide Leisure Safe with the contract, but we cannot tell the people how wonderful this is going to be and what the true benefit is going forward.
Councillor Inglis.
Well, I wonder why this has to be dealt with, why the report is confidential. Because there's only, as I understand it, there's only 1 applicant.
No.
The other applicant having withdrawn, I think you informed me.
I might get the Director of Infrastructure to tell you the timeline of what happened. The applicants.
Well, perhaps I should make my point first.
Okay.
But if that's the case, it's only required to be commercial. I'm just looking at the Code of Meeting practice. If it would disclose commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it, or confer a commercial advantage on a competitor of the council, or reveal a trade secret. I don't think it applies to that report at all.
Through the Mayor, I've always dealt with these types of matters where people put their operating business models in front of you with caution, and I believe they are sort of commercial arrangements that deserve the protection of a confidential report.
Well, I can understand your caution, but in accordance with our Code of Meeting practice, it does not meet the requirements.
Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Inglis, it does. So we received
In what way,
3 expressions of interest, 2 put in commercial terms, and that's been disclosed to councillors.
So in the suite of documents that we were given accompanying this report, it gave information from all. So you can't cherry pick.
We're only dealing with the 1
No,
report.
we're not. In order for the report, the attachments of the report include all of it. And so therefore, we treat all of it in confidence. And that's why I'm saying I would encourage, once this is passed, that we work in conjunction with Leisure Safe to actually develop and produce a communication that can tell the community exactly what it is, what the financial benefits are going to be, what are the benefits of the facility and, potential opportunities.
I think, Madam Mayor, is it possible through you to the General Manager to segregate the other documents which may be commercially incompetent from the application, confidence made from the application, which is the only one that we're considering?
So through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor, if you wish to discuss those, we can go into confidential session. So the report is public, but we have attached the 3 expressions of interest, including the.
Can I move we go into confidential?
Yes,
I'll second it.
seconded. Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous.